Welcome to another edition of Anglican Unscripted, the holiday edition. This is episode 304. I'm Kevin Carlson.
And I'm George Conger, and today's July 3rd, 2017.
Okay, welcome to the 304 episode. If you guys remember in episode 300, I put out a challenge to our audience. If you could name the first place we recorded episode 1 many eons ago, I would send a nice little gift. And lo and behold, somebody knew where we recorded it. I was extremely impressed. Lars Carlson from Sweden, we have an international audience, mentioned that, I think it was at All Saints in, where was that, Long Beach, California?
Long Beach, California.
I don't remember. And so he picked it out. I will be sending him a gift. He's in Sweden, so all postage will apply, but it's worth it. And I want to thank you, Lars, for being the first with the correct answer. George, on to the news. We have a couple topics to cover today. Obviously, we're going to cover the consecration of Andrew Lyons in Wheaton, Bishop Bruno and his deciding to sell a church, and our favorite character of all, Katherine Jefferts is now employed again as a teacher, so that should be fun, George. Let's move on to Andrew Lyons. I was in Wheaton. We did a live stream, big audience, probably the largest live stream audience we've ever had for Unscripted. We're in the tens of thousands. A lot of it was from Europe, obviously, for the consecration of Andrew Lyons. Why was this so big? Why was it? And George and I want to kind of talk about the optics from the people I've spoken to in England and Scotland. They're like, well, why hold it in America? I don't have a good answer for that, but that's kind of the first question I want to put out there, George. For me, the answer is visas. It's harder to get a visa into England than for the African bishops than it is to get into America.
That, I'm sure, is a major consideration, but at the same time, it's the ACNA that is sponsoring Andy Lyons. Mm-hmm. The ACNA, on behalf of the GAFCON movement, is sending him back to Britain, Scotland, Ireland, England, to be a bishop, and to all of Europe, in fact. Mm-hmm. So the optics, from a national point of view, home team advantage is always best. But this was as good as you were going to get, and it was very well done. We had 7 or 8 primates, plus 2 or 3 retired primates, bishops from Australia, New Zealand, around the world. It really was quite a good show.
It was. It was well done, well put together, well timed. But I'm hearing overseas from Lambeth and Canterbury, well, this is border crossing. Have you guys not read the Nicene papers? You get to Article 15 and you're not allowed to do this because we are authentic Christians.
Well, the Primate of Australia, Philip Freer, Archbishop of Melbourne, sent a letter to the 2 Australian bishops, Glenn Davies of Sydney and Richard Condy of Tasmania, saying, thank you for letting me go that you're going, but I wish you wouldn't go because this creates the problems of border crossings, all the arguments Justin Welby had said, plus it violates the Nicene canons. Well, I think we need to address that Nicene canon question because Canon 5 of Nicaea does not allow them to be married, and both Richard Condy and Glenn Davies are married. So
it's just
and it's Philip Freer. so I guess some Nicene canons are more equal than other Nicene canons. An academic. Cambridge academic released a paper on this issue a few weeks ago saying, this Welby citing the canons of Nicaea is totally taken out of context. It's the worst sort of shallow, silly proof texting that you can do with history. But the pressure's on. The 2 bishops of the Church of England, serving bishops, Michael Nazar Ali was there. He's retired, so there's really not much anything anybody can do to him. But the Bishop of Blackburn and the Bishop of Birkenhead, Keith Sinclair and Julian Henderson, were invited. They sent very carefully worded letters in response, and I'd like to read it, and it's important I don't mangle it.
Okay, don't mangle it.
Archbishop Foley, we send greetings in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ as you have invited us to attend the consecration and we cannot do so. Okay, so it acknowledges they were invited, but they can't come, and they're only writing because of that invitation. We remember with joy our fellowship at the Global South Conference in Cairo in October 2016. We pray for you today, especially for candidate Andy Lyons, consecrated as bishop in the Church of God. It has been good to meet and pray with Andy in recent years and to know his heart for the gospel and the witness of the church. Please pray for us in the Church of England for faithfulness and fruitfulness these days. So, what are they saying and what are they not saying? Basically, they've been told, you can't go. Somebody's told them you're not allowed to go. And you need to dance very carefully around what exactly Andy Lyons is. Mm-hmm. He's a bishop in the Church, small c, of God. And it is good to meet and pray with Andy in recent years. So we're not congratulating Andy, but we're affirming Andy as a good and godly man, and to know his heart for the gospel and witness to the church. So this could be written about a Methodist, about any other Christian minister. Now, these are two conservative British bishops who are genuinely in favor of the GAFCON wider agenda,
yes, absolutely.
But they have been sat on very heavily by somebody from above to basically keep their noses clean.
Yeah, the text of that is very interesting. So, obviously they're part of a mafia. There's a little. Why is somebody calling in here? I'm not at my studio, so lots of things can happen here that should not happen on a laptop. There we go. So nobody can call in here. Interesting the text, and very interesting how this went off. We didn't mention that Bishop Munir Nice, not a GAFCON primate, was there representing the Global South. So I think all of Anglicanism is in on this, understands there's a big problem with the Church of England, and sees Andy Lyons as kind of the first step, a spark in the way forward. Now it is my hope to get an interview with Andy Lyons in the next couple weeks when I get back from holiday. He was kind of hidden away from me in Wheaton, so I didn't get a chance to interview him or any other bishops because I was very busy with the live stream. My apologies, but that's what Skype is for. I have set up an interview with Bishop Mark Lawrence for 2 weeks from now, and we'll get that taken care of as well. All in all, I think the ACNA event went off without a hitch, and it's the way forward for Anglicanism here in North America. Let's talk about what is not the way forward, George, and that's real estate, Los Angeles real estate. Today is the deadline for Bishop Bruno to sell St. James. Do you think it's going to happen?
Today's closing date, and he has to be able to guarantee clear title and clear sale. Otherwise, he has unspecified penalties to be imposed by the purchaser. Now, Bishop Bruno was given a pastoral directive by the presiding bishop saying, you can't sell this property. However, our staff attorney, Alan Haley, has told us that essentially this is unenforceable. And Bruno has proven that he is beyond shame and beyond control by suasion. So we're waiting to see if Bruno goes ahead and sells the property. Now, it'll create title mess, and it'll be a lawsuit in and of itself. So the buyer may just decide, okay, we're going to step away. But the background of the story is the Bruno hearing, the hearing panel has not rendered their verdict, and Bruno is trying to basically do an end run. He's got a $40 million real estate deal. And this is one of the pieces in the deal, and he is trying to sell the property before the decision is made. Now, the church attorney, that's the person representing the Episcopal Church in these proceedings, is so angry. He's issued an amendment to his pleading saying, you need to depose Bishop Bruno now, kick him out of the ministry, and something's really stinks here. We need forensic audit. Now, what is a forensic audit, folks? A criminal audit of Bishop Bruno's books. Something funny. The Episcopal Church's attorney is accusing, and it's great reading this stuff. The church attorney accused Bishop Bruno of lying to the panel,
But he did lie.
Manip-
It's not just an accusation. At this point, based on empirical fact, he lied. You know.
let's
Oh, let's not get ourselves sued. He has
let's not.
been accused of lying.
It is alleged that he lied.
Alleged that he lied.
Alleged that he lied.
That's right.
Now, we can't say perjury because California law, perjury is a different crime.
That's right.
But in vernacular common speech, Bishop Bruno perjured himself in the depositions. You can only perjure yourself in a criminal court proceeding, I'm told.
That's right.
So he didn't perjure himself in court. He perjured himself in demotic common speech.
Yes.
I think we need to start this over, don't we?
We're going to start this portion over. I'm running a little bit out of time for the whole thing, but we'll start the Bruno part over. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's move on to other news domestically here in America. We're going to talk about Bishop Bruno, real estate, and things you should not do as bishop. I don't know if people remember 2 or 3 episodes ago, George and I called for Presiding Bishop Michael Curry to intervene with what was going on in Los Angeles with Bishop Bruno. Do something, depose him, stop him, issue a statement. We finally got that statement. The statement says, you got it in front of you?
No, Kevin, I think at this point we need to read something that our attorneys had advised us to read.
Oh, please.
All characters identified in this newscast are fictitious, and any resemblance they bear to real people is entirely coincidental.
Yes, absolutely. I don't want to get sued. We know the characters we're talking about, so just assume we're adding alleged to every thing we speak of. However, Michael Curry issued a statement. Why did he do that?
John Bruno allegedly sought to circumvent the hearing panel by selling the properties under dispute out from underneath the church. Evidently, allegedly, he's got a $40 million real estate package, and part of the package was the rectory and church properties at St. James, Newport Beach. And the congregation discovered this because somebody had somebody come out and do like the title insurance inspection.
Yeah.
Is the property really there that we're going to insure? And what are you doing here? Oh, well, and they checked into it, and Bruno was trying to sell the thing. Now, this is a major no-no. Mm-hmm. And the bishops and the hearing panel asked his attorneys to, is this true? And they said, we refuse to answer. You can't make us. And they said, yes, we can. And we forbid you to do this. And the attorneys responded back, well, no, you can't forbid us to do this because you don't have the authority to do this. And, oh, by the way, the only reason why we couldn't tell you is because we entered into a secrecy agreement, so we're not allowed to tell you what we're doing. Oh, but by the way, the Standing Committee of Los Angeles has approved what Bishop Bruno is doing. Now, they don't know any details, but they have given the bishop carte blanche to do whatever he likes. So he could sell this, as the church attorney said, diocese for $1. And it's okay with the Diocese of Los Angeles Standing Committee. Well, this was too much for Michael Curry, who came in and said to John Bruno, you are forbidden. I'm issuing you a pastor. I'm restricting your ministry such that you may not do this. Now, and today is the day that title has to pass.
Yeah, it has to pass July 3rd. I remember watching the deposition of John Bruno years ago in the case with St. James, and he says, there's not much I can do about this because it's a hierarchical church. That means that this diocese really can't make the decisions. It comes from 815, and we're hierarchical. And, I have to really respond to what they want. Now, I'm not back in the studio. I can't just grab the tape and show it to you. But that was his testimony, that the Episcopal Church is hierarchical. He had 2 or 3 expert witnesses who agreed with him on the stand and said, there's not much Bruno can do here as a bishop because the Episcopal Church, as everybody knows, is hierarchical. And
Kevin, I need to say that I've been an expert witness in these cases.
Weren't you in this case too?
No, I was in some of the San Diego cases and a Tennessee case and a New York case, a bunch of other cases I was involved in. So expert witnesses are worth what you pay them.
Yes.
So don't listen to expert witnesses. Bruno is, in my opinion, being unpriestly, being hypocritical. He certainly has no charism of ministry and leadership and godliness about him. He wants to be a real estate tycoon. That's what he wants to do. And I think the church should do what the church attorney has asked and depose him to allow him to be a little Donald Trump for Anaheim, California, and do all these real estate deals. Now, he gets, as bishop, he gets to play with the church's money to do these fantastic development programs. But, as I read Titus and some of the other epistles in the New Testament, I don't see real estate development being one of the qualifications for the Episcopal office.
Well, hold on. They're going to have to redo a lot of bishops if they're going to start following Titus. Above reproach is a key phrase in Titus.
See, I mean, at this stage, I think I mentioned this before, but we're dealing with character flaws. The Episcopal legal system is not designed for the John Brunos and the Charles Benisons. It's designed for bishops who screw up and realize they've made a mistake, and let's see how we can fix this. Like the fellow Bishop Hahn in I think it was Lexington or might have been Kentucky, one of those two. He had an adulterous affair. He admitted it. He was suspended for a year, and they're trying to figure out a way for him to come back. And is he contrite? That's how the system's supposed to work. Not with the Brunos, not with the Benisons, who are blind to their own malfeasance.
Who could be argued, you and I have had this conversation before. How does an Episcopalian become a priest? And I run into hundreds of these types of models where I run into an Episcopal priest. Well, one day I was in church and I expressed interest to my priest that I'd like to be in a Bible study. 3 years later, I'm in seminary. They just promote anybody who has any interest whatsoever, whether they're converted or not converted, in any type of vocation within the church, or want to read the Bible more, or want to be a Sunday school teacher. Boom, you're on seminary track. And these guys become bishops too, George.
There are careers, as in any profession.
Yes.
There are some godly, wonderful men and women in the episcopate who do and who are faithful to their ordination vows.
The vast majority of people in the Episcopal Church and the Anglican Church that I've run across to are true, faithful Christians trying to encourage the church in Christ. But I run into this type of situation more and more where I was not on a career track in the Episcopal Church. I just expressed some interest in the Bible, and because there's just nobody else in my church who had any interest, the priest got overexcited, and boom, I'm on seminary track. And I've seen this, George, and you and I have talked about this.
Well, and it's part of the reason why growth in the Episcopal Church is so uneven. Congregations grow for a variety of reasons, but the one that is, time and again, the experts say, is the quality of preaching and teaching. Our church here in Hooterville, Florida, where the cows are more numerous than the people, we've grown by 10% a year for the last 4 years. And we've not had any massive developments built nearby. We've not had a prison where I count all the people I visit on the rolls. We have just attracted people, only maybe 1 in 5 as an Episcopalian, who want to know the Lord and hear the Bible. We have as many people who come from no religion as we do from the Episcopal Church, Joyce. And it's not unique to me. You see this in the Anglican Church in North America. You see it in the Lutheran Church, the Presbyterian Church, and the Catholic Church, where the gospel and the word of Christ are preached and taught. Okay, maybe not the Catholic Church, but okay.
No, you're in bigger trouble.
Let's lose our audience now. But God blesses that work. And then there are people. The joke of the previous generation of Episcopal priests was they went to seminary to avoid the draft.
Yes.
Not all of them did. But I'm sure there's some people who didn't know what to do. It's 1972, and they're not going to Vietnam. So they went to seminary.
Well, this is a perfect transition to talk about our favorite person, who was a scientist, an oceanographer, and somehow developed a desire to learn more about God, ended up in seminary, became a dean of a seminary somehow, and then boom, presiding bishop. Just boom, right there.
Well,
And
Kevin, as presiding, Catherine Jefferts Shorey's scientific doctorate is in invertebrate marine animals. And I think as being president of the House of Bishops, she would be ideally suited to deal with other invertebrates. Bishops notoriously have no spines. So I think that was a proper preparation.
yes, it
But
was.
now she's going to be Bishop of San Diego.
Ouch.
And what
Wow.
these poor people have done for their Kevin, this is going to keep us running 3 days a week for the next 10 years till she's retired.
The kids
Oh, this
wondered
is a
why I was
blessing.
so giddy. I read the story, and it's like I was being reborn as a journalist, that I had something to live for, that Catherine Jefferts Shorey was going to be a temporary bishop in San Diego. It's like winning the lottery, George.
Oh, Kevin, I mean, I just wish she had preached this past weekend because in the lectionary we've got the story of the sacrifice of Isaac. And Kevin, I miss the divine child abuse sermons, or that Paul is a misogynist for casting out a demon from a woman. He doesn't want a woman to have power. I miss that, Kevin. I really do. And we are now going to be treated once again to some of the joys of utter, complete kookiness.
Absolutely. Well, we have run up on the time. We had a lot of fun. This is more of a casual show because I'm waiting for my kids to walk through that door at any moment behind me at the hotel room here. Dad, it's time to go swimming. All right, it's time to go swimming. I'm Kevin Carlson.
And I'm George Conger, and you've been watching episode 304 of Anglican Unscripted.